Hello, this is Brett from SurvivalComms, and today I'm going to briefly talk to you about my thoughts on EMCOMM boxes. Now first we'll talk about what an EMCOMM box is, and there's a whole following of people that like to put these together. And basically what you're doing is you're taking a rack case, a portable rack, and you're outfitting it with your amateur radio equipment. Now many amateur operators have made EMCOMM boxes, and some of them are rather elaborate. And my position is that field radio or field deployable radio needs to be a simplistic endeavor, because you want it to be reliable and you want to keep it practical and you want to keep it man portable. And when you start to add a lot of doodads to your setup, it inhibits the ability for it to be man portable. For example, this particular setup here weighs just over 30 pounds, and right now it's operating off of its own self-contained 20 amp hour lithium ion battery. This is a Gator case. I picked it up for about $160 on Amazon. It's a 4U case is the size. And then I also got heavy duty racks, because you don't want to get the light duty racks, especially when you put like an HF radio in here, which is the lion's share of the weight. The radio I'm using is just an EMCOMM IC718. I really like this radio. It's an extremely simple radio. This radio does not have a built-in auto tuner, so I have this LDG 100 watt tuner on top here. And the power supply, there's nothing special about that. This is just a 30 amp switching power supply. And then of course I've got my signal link down here. Now my signal link doesn't reside in this chassis itself. It sits in this case. Looking at the back side of this rack, you can see the battery that I have in an old saw pouch. And this battery, believe it or not, actually fits in there along with the accessories for the radio, and also a 40 meter dipole antenna. There's a lot of extra room in here to stuff things for transport. You can see that I have a separate module I've built for power, and I just select a power pole for the power supply. If I'm running on AC power, or if I'm running the battery, I just go ahead and plug it directly into and feed this fuse block right here. And I have two additional accessory circuits if I choose to plug something else into it. You can see the bracketry in here. I made this with my shear and just some aluminum sheet, and made my own brackets and attached them. You can see where I had to relieve around a screw that was in the body of the radio itself. And then I just use these Motorola speaker screws to retain the radio, and I've got those on the opposite side as well, so everything is tied into here very securely. It's often to see in many other EMCOMM box builds that the builder will have custom faceplates made, or they'll make their own custom faceplates, and it basically encapsulates the entire station, and it looks quite attractive. However, the problem with doing that is that then that adds weight to it without adding any function, and it also makes it more difficult to service the equipment if you need to do that in the field or change something around, as well as necessitating the use of fans for ventilation, whereas this box is quite open right here and it's well ventilated. Now many will ask, well, why didn't you incorporate a VHF and UHF radio for using that as a control station? And my answer to that is simple, being that it's really easy just to grab a mobile radio such as this IC208 out of my little pack here, which is essentially an entire radio station in and of itself, with a mag mount antenna and a microphone and a cigarette lighter plug. And I can plug that directly into here by just moving this signal link. And in doing that, I don't lose the ability to utilize this radio as a separate resource. The antenna we're running today is just my homemade 40 meter in-fed half wave up in the tree, so it's relatively low to the ground. I do run a counterpoise on it, and you can see right here I just use a Prusik that I put on my antenna wire and run it back to this body, which is just a piece of Coroplast that was used on my advertising sign. And that basically relieves the tension from the connector for the antenna element. And I'm just tying my transformer off to the EMCOMM box itself, as you can see here, using a trucker's hitch. Now, I would much rather personally utilize a resonant dipole or a doublet type of multi-band antenna. However, the in-fed antenna is nice because I could set it up just like this, and it's really simple to get it on the air quickly. So I think it's easy to see why these are very popular. I mean, it's incredibly practical to be able to have an entire 100-watt HF radio station that's self-contained and easy to set up in this ruggedized transportation container. If you elect to build one of these for yourself, I think you'll find it to be a valuable resource to add to your amateur radio toolkit. Just keep in mind that simplicity, reliability, and portability are the most important factors in any kind of field deployable communications. I hope this helps. This is Brett from SurvivalComms. Till next time.